Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So the project we're working on today is a nice simple stool. Now the whole reason I came up with this project is purely because I'm kind of stealing it. Because I just bought the attachment for my dovetail jig that lets me cut really nice and clean box joints. And so the stool that I'm making today is basically an exact copy of the one that they have on their website. Although I don't know any of the dimensions from the one on their website, I don't know anything else about it. All I'm doing is just kind of basing my own design off of the stool that they have on there. And so one of the things that I thought would be cool to add to this stool is a little drawer just so you could store stuff on it. The idea behind this stool that I'm thinking anyway is this is something that you'd see at like a shoe shine station or something. So it's nice and low to the ground so you can sit there and shine someone's shoes, but then you have a nice drawer to keep some of your tools in that in. So I don't really know how I'm going to use this stool in the future. All I know is that I just want to try making it because it seems like it's going to be a really good way to start building an understanding of how to use this jig. All right, so that is the stool all completed now. We've got that nice drawer in there. Everything's fitting up beautifully. Now, I will be the first to admit that this is one of the more pointless projects I've done, purely because I don't have a use for something like this. And so even though this isn't the most useful piece of furniture in the world, there was a lot of important things that I was trying to figure out here before I take it on to, other more important projects. For one, handle hole size. So the handle hole here, I went with 1 3/8. Now, I've never tried making handles like this before, so this was just kind of a random guess, and it worked out really well. I really like this size because it gives me enough room to just have my knuckles enter that hole, so I can still pick this up nicely. Now again, not super useful in this circumstance here because carrying this thing around, it's fairly heavy as it is, so the handle up here, not particularly useful, but it was a good learning lesson. Of course, the box joint's also another good lesson. So on the sides here, we used 1/2-inch box joints, and on the drawer, I used 1/4-inch box joints. Now this lead jig attachment can do a ton of different sizes, everything from 1 inch down to about, I think about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch, really, really tiny to really, really big, and everything in between. So just trying to figure out what the best ones to use are is kind of what I'm trying to work on right now. And so I really like the way the 1/2 inch ones came out, and I really like the way the 1/4 inch ones came out. I've got a couple other projects coming up here pretty quick that I'm going to be trying out some other different sizes, and I think they all are just going to be a little bit interesting. Now, one of the things I want to say about box joints is that this is probably the best way to cut box joints, even though it is by far the single most expensive way to cut box joints. But the trick is that I genuinely love box joints. In fact, I like them even a little bit more than dovetails just because I think that they look so interesting and they're from an era of woodworking that I really like. Right in that time when, machinery started coming to the shop, so you want a joinery to be done fast, but pieces still required a good form of joinery. Before, IKEA furniture came along where you just screw everything together, you're still using a really good quality joint that is purely machine cut. So that's just, my own personal preferences. I really love box joints and I've always loved them, but I've never been able to find a good way to do them until I was able to buy that jig because of the bedroom set build. And so the other important thing I wanted to try on this was some sculpting by hand. As you guys saw, I used the spoke shave to just shape this front edge here, just so that when you're sitting on this, your legs aren't going over a sharp 90-degree corner. There's some easement there, so it's a lot more comfortable. And one thing that I did completely forget to show in the video is that in order to make this drawer actually be able to close efficiently, I ended up having to drill 3 holes into the underside there. And so I didn't even think about this when I was putting the whole thing together, is that when you actually go to put this drawer in, there's a ton of air pressure in there. And because this drawer is piston fit into this space here, when you get the drawer past the opening on the top here, there's a ton of air pressure that was built up in there, and I could literally push this entire stool across my workbench before that drawer would seat in. So all I had to do was just drill those 3 holes in the bottom there, and yeah, that worked out perfectly to just release that air pressure that's held back here, because we have airtight joints apparently all the way through here. But anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.